When we did our roadshow in 2024, Elisabeth Cave came on tour with me. Now, she's a wonderful lady, and while everyone was running around, including me, looking at what was in the sex ed guidelines, she was looking at what was in the health curriculum in school. So that was the well-being curriculum.
Nice one, Elisabeth. Shout out to Elisabeth
Shout
Cave.
out to Elisabeth Cave. So this is a flyer that we put together and we presented on it, and it was a massive aha moment for a lot of people. And when she said, when she did her talk, that she says, raising an alarm bell, beware of the word mental health, because it's not gonna. If you're funding for a solution at the mental health, you're really at the bottom of the cliff, and you're not figuring out what's really happened, whether they've been ideologically adjusted or whether they have had trauma, right? It hasn't been a useful thing. So I'm just going to read this out. So this is from a psychologist from Psychology Today called Dr. Stosny, and he has a pyramid a diagram of what a healthy, secure identity is versus an identity of a child who's had their identity disrupted. Mm-hmm. So we're just going to walk through it for people that haven't seen it and haven't come along to our meetings before. So the foundation of identity is, let's have a look at the diagram. So what he says is that the foundation of identity are the bottom two parts of the pyramid. So that's your basic humanity and your character.
Right.
And then you've got other parts of your identity. All these components make up a healthy, secure identity. And you'll see that gender and sexuality and race and ethnicity are there because they're all part of our identity.
Yep.
But they're not the sole part of our identity. We can all agree on that people have different things that they like to do, and they might have different faiths and different personalities and things. But
right.
No one disagrees with this that I've come across, but
sure.
It's always the first time. So basic humanity at the foundation is a sense of connection with all humans. It increases respect, appreciation, compassion and kindness. Identifying with basic humanity alleviates the feelings of isolation that are integral to most psychological distress. It humanizes perceptions of others and culls the negative judgments of self and others that produce so much anxiety and resentment. When in touch with basic humanity, we like ourselves better and treat others humanely. And by the way, these are the words of Dr. Stosny, psychologist.
Right.
And character, which is also part of the foundation, consists of mental and moral qualities. For example, honesty, flexibility, humility, resilience, generosity, accountability, in addition to personality and temperament. In short, it's how we tend to think, feel, and behave. And when we talk about this at Let Kids Be Kids, people can identify with what is being said here. Mm-hmm. And it feels like balm to my soul when I hear words like that. And wouldn't it be amazing if our society and our education system focused on those basic humanity parts?
Yeah.
You know,
look at them. They're all so solid and grounded.
And kind of what like older generations would be, relatively familiar with.
Sure.
Service to others, looking after one another and having good moral qualities.
Yeah.
Mental tenacity.
All good stuff.
So I'm going to turn the page now, and this is where it's the other side of it. So then we go, well, what's going on with our young people when they are in distress and they are coming under the mental health services? Mm-hmm. Is one of the things that it may be, and it's only one thing because obviously there's trauma and other things like that, but is that their identities have been disrupted. So if we take that solid triangle pyramid and we look at the upper rungs of identity, which are gender, sexuality and race ethnicity, identifying with any of the upper rungs of the pyramid at the expense of the foundation causes prolonged stress or dysphoria.
Ooh,
starting to sound like our mental health crisis in our young people. Yeah.
But dysphoria, when you're really not sure what you are.
Yes, gender dysphoria is one of them. Yeah, your identity is destabilized. Most of the ideological and cultural strife in the world, not to mention hate, stems from a hyper-focus on one or more of the upper rungs while violating the foundation. So when I first saw this, it helped me to understand what happened to people close to me. And as we went around the country, this had a massive aha light with parents, because what they're seeing is these lovely young beings, their children, who might have great moral qualities, were starting to really hone in and hyper-focus on their gender as the sole basis of their identity. That's what's happening to young people today. And if it's not their gender or their sexuality, it's their race, it's their ethnicity, it's their political affiliation, it's what are you going to be an activist about? what's the thing you're going to be an activist about? And it's like, where's my kid that loved playing sport or doing art and loved cooking with me, and we went on walks and swims and liked hanging out and respected his grandparents? Where'd that kid go?
Where's the happy human gone?
Where is the happy human gone who's kind of future forward thinking and positive about the future? So then Elisabeth created this diagram which compares a stable identity that has that foundation and all the components of an identity with an unstable identity. So that's what Dr. Stephen Stosny says there, is that if you take away the foundation and you're hyper-focusing on something that's only a small part of the identity. Okay, so if I just zoom in there to make it easier to see. So yeah, stable identity versus unstable. So there you've got gender as the tiny little fulcrum really that it's on.
Yeah.
And so really what we talk about is that the child has gone from being happy, confident and well-rounded and engaged to being distressed and self-focused. And they do need affirmation, because they need affirmation to stay upright. They need everyone to be talking about their gender all the time. So doesn't that sound like what's going on out in the
Yeah, we
world,
see that
right?
a lot, don't we? We see a lot of the whole, it's almost like we're creating narcissists. People have to be focused on and look at me and how I feel, and you've offended me. I feel offended, so you've got to change what you do and all that shit.
Yeah, and I look at it and I think, wow, remember the day when young people would just go out and do stuff? And now they're like thinking about the next, being on puberty blockers or they're cutting themselves, or what is going on here in this world?
The creation of narcissists.
The creation of narcissists. And then, but also when you tie that into the conversion practices bill, when that is happening, woe betide you say, hey, maybe you're making a call that you could regret later in your life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a legislation has stopped us from doing that.